Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Before we get started with today's podcast, I'm going to announce the Amazon gift card winner. So as you know, I did a giveaway here and one of you is going to win $50 Amazon gift card. And all you had to do to enter this giveaway was to leave this podcast a 5-star rating and review. So today I'm going to tell you who the winner was and what she wrote. So the winner is F&F at 55. So congrats, you won the $50 Amazon gift card. And I'm going to read you what she had to say. I will say that she left this comment after listening to the episode number 259, where I talked to Stephanie, one of my former clients, Stephanie, who was telling us how she got out of that diet where she was what she did before, where she was eating very low carbs and where she was fasting for long periods of time, and the exercise that she was doing wasn't really right for her. So we changed all these things and she is doing so much better. She is stronger, fitter, and more energized than ever. So you can check out this episode too. It was 259. And here what F&F at 55 had to say. Sustainable results. I have been following Kirsten for some time now and have recently become a client. Well, thank you. I love listening to success stories, and this one hits home for me because I was on a similar program as Stephanie, and it worked for a while, but then completely messed up my hormones, making me gain all the weight that I had lost back. Kirsten is helping me, as she did Stephanie, taking more of a sustainable and long-term approach. I can't recommend her podcast and her as a coach enough. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this beautiful review. And this really describes the situation where so many women find themselves. And I think this is why it's great that you won it, because exactly, this is a lot of people's story, and they often think that there's no way out, but there is a way out. You just have to think what's sustainable. Diets are never sustainable. So I'm really, really glad that you left this beautiful review. Thank you so much. Please reach out to me via social media and I will send you the Amazon gift card. All right, on to the show. Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Kirsten here, and I really appreciate you taking the time and spending some time with me today, listening to this podcast. So lately I have been doing more client stories, interviews with women who have worked with me in the past. So we have talked about how they went through this process, what their goals were, what they accomplished, and how they are now doing on their own, because obviously this is the goal. So you get your result and then you're able to maintain it yourself, right? So I hope that you have listened to these episodes. Recently, I've done one with Pamela, one with Carolyn, one with Stephanie. That's definitely one of the more popular ones. They all have been popular, but I think I've been talking a lot about Stephanie's podcast because she has this perfect example of, overtraining herself and just doing really low carb stuff and then turning things around, starting focusing on health and seeing major improvements. So this was the episode with her. The one that I did with Pamela was kind of about a person who is eating mindfully, eating well and eating the right things, but is just always confused. Why am I not able to lose weight? What is going on? Should I eliminate this? Should I eliminate that? Should I watch my portions? She kind of didn't have any guidelines, any goals really. I mean, she had goals, but no guidelines, like how to get there. So this interview is with her, and so you can learn a lot from her too. And also the other thing is that if you're ever thinking that, oh, I can't get my weight down because I'm 60 plus years old, Pamela will show you that it's absolutely possible. So she was 67 when she did the program very, very successfully. And then the most recent episode that I did with Carolyn was super interesting in my opinion too, because Carolyn went through different phases of this program. So first she had a fat loss and a weight loss goal. So we did that successfully. And then she started like a muscle mass, gaining strength phase, which was something that a lot of women don't do, which is essentially going to do a bulk and putting on muscle. So you can listen to that episode too if you want to hear how these phases went for her, what she learned, and where she is at right now. So I've been doing more episodes like this because I hope that they inspire you and encourage you. And what we're going to do today is not an interview, but I will share with you some of the wins that I have been hearing about from my clients lately. And every Monday is the busiest day of the week for me. This is the time when I'm doing most of my client check-ins and also calls. And every Monday I hear a lot of things, right? I hear, of course, there's always, questions. There's also a lot of wins. So I want to share with you some of the wins that I've heard from my clients. Maybe it was yesterday, so today's Tuesday, or maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. But some of the things that I have found would be useful for you to hear as well, how people are making progress, because I think the support is so important. How many people are struggling? How many people are thinking, I can't get better? They just may not have the right tools and maybe not the right mindset. So hopefully what I'm going to share with you today will inspire you and help you understand that there is a way out. And when I'm sharing these wins, I'm also going to give you a little bit of background, like what this person was doing previously. And of course, everything's going to be anonymous, obviously, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background because probably this will resonate with you as well. At least some of these things will resonate with you. And before I get into this win specifically, I also want to share that all of these women that I'm talking about today, whose wins I'm sharing, almost all of them are either in the process of reverse dieting, right, where we are gradually increasing calories because they have been dieting a lot in the past and their metabolism is not in an optimal place to start cutting calories. So they're either in this build-up phase, reverse diet phase, or they have already been through this and now they are in a calorie cut. So a couple of different people here. Only one of these wins that I'm going to share today has nothing to do with a reverse diet and has something else to do with macros, but we will get there. So let me go ahead and share the first win with you. I'm going to read this to you. I am trusting the process, and overall, I do feel like my clothes are fitting better. This is a really high amount of food to eat. I don't believe I have ever been able to eat this much for this long. Okay, so why did I want to talk about this? Because a lot of times women think that they have to eat like birds. And this is what they have been doing, sometimes months, sometimes years, and sometimes for decades. And this is how we run our metabolisms down. And for this lady, particularly, she had done many diets in the past too. And the biggest ones maybe were the 3 diets that are actually really, really popular. Everywhere you look, you see them. And I'm not going to name them, but they are diets that are very, very common. A lot of people are doing. And unfortunately, especially one of these is a diet that takes the calories down super, super low. So I've heard that these diets can be like less than 1,000 calories a day. So now with this lady, what we have been doing is that we have been increasing your calories because you cannot function when you're eating these low calories for too long, right? It will wear your metabolism down, not healthy for you. And now where we are with her is at 2150 calories, right? So this may seem like a lot. And like she says too, I don't think I've ever eaten this much food. She says, this is really high amount of food. I don't believe I've ever been able to eat this much for this long, right? And it may seem like, oh my goodness, 2150 is so insane number. But let me tell you, it's not. For an adult woman who's physically active, does 3 workouts a week, this is a totally normal amount of food. It's just that our perception and what we have been fed by the diet industry is the message that we should be eating less and less and less. So now this feels absolutely unbelievable. But now what you also heard is that she said that my clothes are fitting better. So where is that coming from? She's eating more than before. When the clothes are fitting better, probably because she's losing maybe some water, right? So the water retention is going down, but it's also the stress response, right? So when our bodies are constantly stressed out, whether it is because of too low calories, or too much stress, or too many workouts, too intense workouts, poor recovery from workouts, there's so many things. Then the bodies just start to hold on to more water, and that gives you this really puffy feeling. So now what can happen when we start increasing the calories and actually meeting your real needs is that the body can kind of chill out a little bit, and it can relax, and it can find its homeostasis now. And this is exactly what is probably going on with her. So we may increase the calories a little bit more. Time will show. I will always monitor really closely how the person's body weight is going, how it's moving, if the measurements are going up or down, what's going on. So we may be able to increase the calories even a little bit more. But for now, 2150 is where she's at. And we are planning to keep them there for several months before we even think about cutting them down. And once we cut them down, we're never going to go down to 1,000 calories. This is just not what I do. Okay, so this was the first thing. And I want to kind of emphasize again that it can happen that you're eating the most food that you've eaten in your adult life, and you might be losing some interest and you might be feeling like your clothes are feeling better. It's absolutely possible. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to read you is this one. I wanted to follow up with you about my hiking recently. And she shared like her previous hiking experience on the same trail. That was years ago when she was on this diet. And she said, back then I thought I was going to die. I did that hike fasted and I was eating less than 50 grams of carbs. Fast forward to my hike today. It wasn't easy, but I fueled my body properly and thoroughly enjoyed that hike. I just can't tell you what a massive difference eating properly and strength training has made. All right, this makes me super, super happy because yes, we talk a lot about weight loss, fat loss, but also we want you to have good energy and we want you to enjoy your life and feel physically strong. So what she's talking about, like she went on the same hike, I think 2 years apart, right? The first one's just terrible. She was like, I was fasting. On that day, I was allowed to have 50 grams of carbs. I didn't feel well at all. And now she's feeling fueled, healthy, strong. She hit a lot of steps on this occasion when she did all these hikes, and she's feeling so much better. So what have we been doing with her? Same thing, a reverse diet, because she also came from this really relatively low calorie place, and we have been increasing her calories significantly. I believe right now we have increased from about 1,700 to 2,400. And this is all part of the healing process. This is how you do it. Because if you have been eating 1,700 for several years in a row, then your body adapts to it. It doesn't want to burn anything anymore. That's a big mistake that many diets make, many dieters make. They never bring their calories back up. So they're always eating 1,700 or 1,600. It's like going their third year already. They're doing the same thing. So that's her past too. So what we are doing is reverse diet, going to increase her calories. She has better energy now. We're going to hold her, keep her at higher calories, and then we do the cut after that. So super happy to read that she's doing so much better and is enjoying herself on these hikes. So I absolutely loved reading it. Okay, so the next one I want to read you is this. I'm going to open it up. Okay, so now the next person is the one who is not in the reverse diet, right? So we're not doing that. But what we're doing with her is that we are increasing her protein intake. So her calories actually were in a really good place. I had nothing bad to say about that. I was actually really happy to see, and this is a rare thing to see, a woman who has not dieted and a woman who is not eating 1,700 calories. So her calories were in a really good, healthy place, 2,300, and her goals are more related to athletic performance. And one of the big ones for her was sleep. So she wanted to sleep better. And when I looked at her food logs, it was obvious to me that her protein is way too low. So we increased the protein. It's like the foundation. This is what I talk about so much here. And here's the message that I got. So on these days that I managed to eat the recommended amount of protein, I've slept no problems and without eating anything else after dinner. I'm sleeping more deeply too. So this is fantastic, right? Exactly what we wanted. And yeah, protein obviously has this very blood sugar balancing effect. So it may very well be that she's just getting way less of these blood sugar fluctuations. And that's what helps her to sleep through the night. Also, she's just fuller, right? When you eat a normal dinner that has a good amount of protein versus, a lot of it coming only from carbs, when it has a good amount of protein, she just stays fuller throughout the night and doesn't have to get up, doesn't have to have her sleep interrupted. Because a lot of times before, what had happened was that she had been like eating dinner, and then right before going to sleep, suddenly got like hunger. And then she would go get up and eat something else, but it was never high in protein. So even just this one switch that we have made, which is significantly increasing her protein without cutting down the calories, actually in her case at all, has made this change, and she's already sleeping better. So this is absolutely fantastic. All right, so the next one I want to share with you is very short and sweet, and I love it, and it's simple. Okay, here's what this woman has to say. Without carbs, I was just existing. Since adding carbs back in, I felt alive again. Alive again. All right, so where do I even start with this? Cutting the carbs out is a crappy idea for women, especially if you're physically active, you want to put on muscle, you want to feel strong, you want to have energy, you want to have healthy menstrual cycle, you want to be fertile, you want to have healthy thyroid, you want all these things, I really recommend that you eat carbs. And so no wonder that she's feeling a lot better right now. So a little bit of background, what she had done before, she had done very, very hardcore keto diet, didn't feel well at all, also did 1 meal a day, also known as OMAD diet, and felt really awful. She has also told me that when she was playing with her kids, she would always feel like super low energy. Her child would say, hey, let's go outside and do something, and she would be like, oh, I don't have the energy to do it. But now things have totally changed, and she is eating about 230 grams of carbs right now. Can you imagine going from keto to 230? And let me tell you that this has not been an overnight jump. I'm absolutely not doing this. This is a bad idea to go from like under 25 grams of carbs to 220. No, that's not how I'm doing this. So actually, when she started with me, she had already been done with keto. So she was eating more carbs, but she was nowhere near to 130 where she is right now. And overall, her calories have gone up a lot. So when we started together, the calories are about 1450, right? And now her calories are close to 2100 at this point. So increases with her have been very, very gradual, but that's okay. Everybody needs their own pace. Some people can go up higher, other people need more time. It's very individual, and I'm always listening to what my clients need, and of course I guide them, but I'm not gonna I always listen to their input too. So she has taken the route of more gradual increase, but she has been increasing every single week. And definitely this carb part has made a huge difference. So if you are struggling with super low energy and you're still trying to do this, you're still pushing yourself because you're like, somebody said the keto is going to start working one day and it hasn't happened and you feel like shit, then please stop it. Start eating some carbs and you notice how your energy will come back. Okay, so the next one is really interesting. And let me tell you that this person I'm going to talk about next, she's actually not even my client. She has gotten all the information from this podcast. So she's a listener, and she's also in my free Facebook group called Fit and Fueled. And this is where she has gotten this information and made these changes. So this is just to show how valuable these free resources are. And if you have the will and the desire to make this work on your own, you can. So join the group. There's so much information in there, and I'm going to share what she has to say. So she's saying after I recommended that we make these changes, and she's been listening to my podcast, she's saying, I'm feeling much stronger in the gym. My recovery is faster and better in between sessions. I have almost no random aches and pains. I have lots more energy, so much so that my husband has been joking, you need to go back on calorie restriction. You're bouncing off the walls now. Okay, obviously, she's not going to go back to calorie restriction, but let me give you a little bit of background from her story too, which she has shared with me. So she was eating for a long time about 1,600 calories and intense overtraining, so much overtraining. And she created a ton of hormonal issues to the point where she thought she's in perimenopause or menopause, but she's not. She's absolutely not. First of all, she's very young. And secondly, when I look at her lifestyle, I can easily tell that this is why your hormones are not doing what you want them to do. The reason is only overtraining, right? That's why, and the calorie restriction. It's not probably not that you are in menopause. Of course, there are people who can get into very, very early menopause. It does happen sometimes. But at the same time, like if we have clear evidence in front of us, we can see what the person's been doing, how little she's been eating, and how much she's been training. And now her hormones are not working properly. You have like low testosterone, low progesterone, periods are wonky, or they don't show up at all, and you have this background, then it's obvious that this we have to fix. So what we have been doing, what she has been actually doing, is that she has increased her calories up from 1,600 to 1,900 to 2,000, and she did it relatively quickly, in only three weeks. And she actually shared with me a photo where you can clearly see that she has lost interest in the midsection. 3 weeks. 3 weeks, right? And I suggested that she changes her workout planning too. So not nearly as much running. So we have replaced most of the running with walking. And she was really trusting. She was like, oh, really? You think I should do it? I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely sure. And she was super trusting. I love people who trust the process. You have to. Sometimes you have to just jump in and trust it. That's what she's been doing, because she used to run a lot. Now she's walking instead, and she's lifting 2 days a week, and she kept one running because she has a running running team that she likes to run with. Cool. But the rest of the running has been replaced with walking. And she used to get so many aches and pains. She also mentioned to me dizziness, aches and pains, mood, very low mood, almost depression-like mood. And she says all of this is gone, and super quickly. And I would say one thing is that she is pretty young, and she can turn things around faster. Somebody who is in their 50s is likely going to need a little bit more time, but I'm so happy for her that she caught it early and that she didn't keep going for super long before, it gets super difficult, before she gets into her like mid-40s or 50s and starts dealing with all these things then, because it's going to be a lot harder then. Okay, so one more that I want to share with you. And now this is from a person who has done a lot of diets in the past, and we had to do a reverse diet as well. And now she's in the cutting phase. So now we're starting to see the results after going through a reverse diet, maintaining the high calories for a while, and now cutting back. So here is what she is saying. She says, I feel really good. I'm not looking for fast results. I'm looking for changes and habits that I can keep forever. And that's what we're doing. I've realized that I'm way harder on myself than I need to be, and I need to give myself a little grace. Yes, to do, because a lot of women are like this. I think probably like 90% of women are like super, super hard on themselves and could use a little bit more grace. She also says, I've tried all the quick fix weight loss diets and none of them worked for me. I'm in this for the long run, lifestyle changes that will last. I just always tend to doubt myself because I've struggled so much in the past. So, okay, a lot to unpack here. So if you have this history, you've done so many things, you are probably super frustrated. And no surprise, right? You try and try and try, you're honest, you put in the work, you're honest about it, you track everything, and this shit's not working, or this diet's not working, it is frustrating. So that's her past. Nothing really worked in the long run, right? So diet after the next diet and next diet and next diet. And finally, she realized that it just cannot keep going like this, right? What is the sustainable thing? What is something that I can do? And now, like I said, what we did, increasing the calories, doing the reverse diet. Reverse diet is almost like, I talk about it so much because it's very rare that I talk to somebody who hasn't like dieted themselves to a really bad place. So reverse diet, maintaining high calories, and now cutting. And so now that she is cutting, we are starting to see results. And she can definitely tell that her midsection has gone down. Her posture, by the way, has improved significantly. This is all thanks to proper strength training. So we're not doing like fast, high intensity types of circuits. They're not very good for the strength at all. It's not very beneficial, but her posture is great. Her measurements are down. Now, she's a person who doesn't want to weigh herself, and that's fine. I'm not going to make her. Everybody can make the choice if they want to weigh or not. It's totally optional, but we can clearly see. She has also shared that she can put on some clothes that she couldn't before. And this time, really, we are doing it sustainable. We have to think, what can I keep up? What can I continue doing? And you cannot do any diets forever. You just cannot. And somebody might argue that, oh, you cannot track your macros forever either, right? And I agree. You don't have to track your macros. What matters, I mean, you don't have to track your macros forever. You have to track them when you are going through this process. But just like, people have shared on this podcast too, like Carolyn, for example, she says, I know myself so well now. I know what works for my body, what makes me feel a certain way. How can I improve my nutrition when I can tell when something's off? And this is it. That's why it is sustainable, because you learn, you spend this time, you learn understanding like how macros work, what works for your body, how do you can increase your fullness and satiation. So you learn. And that's why I say that this is sustainable. That's how it's going to last. It's none of these things like eat only 1,000 calories and like 800 of them come from our like packaged bars. Like nobody can do that. Nobody can do this. Or don't eat any carbs anymore. Nobody can do this either. Right. So it has to be sustainable. And this time it is for her. All right, so these 6 examples, I hope that some of them resonated with you and help you to understand it is possible. Learn from these ladies, trust the process, jump in, because if you have been struggling, the struggle has to end. I mean, and it can end. You can do so much better. I want you to do better. And if you need any help, please reach out. This is what I do. This is what I help people with. And if you need help too, I'm happy to help you. All right, this is all I got for you today. Thank you again for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.